of these apple slicers, which to be honest, it's been in my drawer for a long time. I don't really use it, but if you have one, you use it by placing it in the center of the apple and slicing all the way down. That automatically removes the core and gives you perfect apple slices. If you don't have one of these, not a problem. It's kind of tough to cut through the apple, so I'm just going to use a knife. The bigger the apple, the larger the knife you're gonna need, so it goes across on both sides. You want your apple to stand up and not roll around, and then you're gonna slice it from the top down and create a square around the core. I do that by slicing one side and then the next and the next, and now all that's left is the core. Once you have your 4 large pieces, after that it just depends how thin and how big you need your slices. For snack time, for example, this might be too big, so I just take my knife and slice it right through the middle. Pieces like that, you may want to cut it into thirds, and now you have wedges. Then you're gonna have to be a bit more careful and slice it thinner. I like to do that by placing my apple flat side down, and starting out from the front, I slice them as thin or thick as I want. And now you have nice thin slices for snack time, or bigger ones for fruit dip or to insert in the lunchbox. First things first, let's go wash the orange in the sink under some warm running water. Personally, I use a little bit of soap. I wash it really well all the way around and rinse it until it feels like it's clean, and then I take it on a kitchen towel and pat dry it. I should say that I usually pack my orange slices in a separate lunch container that's sturdy instead of a zip bag. My daughter years ago told me that when I put orange slices in a zip bag, they juiced in there, they got slimy, and quite frankly, they were not as appetizing. So since then, I've just found a smaller round container that fits my orange slices. Now, most people cut oranges into wedges like this. And while there's nothing wrong with cutting your oranges into wedge-like shapes, I found that a lot of kids complain of the white stuff, and so they don't eat their oranges. So you're gonna cut the end of the orange. Now you could just trim a little, but you wanna cut enough that some of the white comes out and you can clearly see the orange at the end. Let's start by slicing it in half. So now I have this half right here, and I like to slice it right along the middle. You have a good center part radius right there. And I slice that right in half. And then I take my orange and cut it into about 1/2-inch slices. This right here is a half moon orange. This is, I found over time, the best way to cut oranges for lunch or to be eaten later, especially if you've got kids that complain that they don't like the orange rind, because they can then open the orange into wedges and bite it right off. And as they take bites of the orange, most of the white stuff, like my kids call it, is left in the orange rind or the peel. By the way, if you're finding videos like this one helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up so I know to make more of them on my channel for you. What's great about cutting just half the orange like this is that younger kids may only eat half an orange, so the other half you can save it in the refrigerator in that zip bag or in another container. So you'll cut as many orange slices as you want and then place them inside of that container. We're gonna put on a lid, and this orange is ready to go. Pears are super nutritious, they have vitamins, but most importantly, they're sweet and they have a lot of fiber. So being fiber rich is great to add into the snack box. And if you want to prevent your pears from getting slimy and all smushy, I'm gonna show you how. First, I should tell you that I try not to pack pears inside of a zip bag because pears have a lot of moisture, so they'll release juice over time, and then they get soggy, they brown, they tend to not be as appetizing. And that's why I typically pack them inside of a sturdy snack box container or directly inside of a lunchbox like in this lunch right here. First things first, let's head over to the sink and wash our pears under warm soapy water. I like to give this a good wash and rinse it well until I feel like the outside, the skin is nice and clean, and then I just take it into a kitchen towel and pat dry it and bring it back. To cut pears, you could use a large knife or a smaller paring knife for the job. What I do is I just stand my pear upright and then I cut around the core, kind of leaving a middle square like this. And once I've cut the pear all the way around and have a square core, I take each piece and slice it into the size that I need. By the way, if you're finding this video helpful, make sure to give this a thumbs up so I know to make more of them on my channel for you. Now you can cut these into bigger pieces that they can snack on, but if you want to cut pears into thin slices, I like to place my pear flat side down and just cut it lengthwise into the thinness that I need. Now I do have another video showing you how to prevent pears from browning, similar to how to prevent apples from browning, but they usually last quite a bit. You can also sprinkle them with some cinnamon on top, and that covers any browning that may happen. Make sure to check the description box below for lots of fun school lunch ideas and other helpful videos. See you next time.